What's the first thing I develop when creating a new main character? And this can go for all characters, so stick around and find out. Hello guys, I'm Arabella. I'm an award-winning author. My second book just came out in my fantasy sci-fi crossover series. You ain't read nothing like it. So if you want a really cool book series, pick that up. But we're here to talk about characters and writing tips. So hit that follow button and let's get into it. So there are a million different ways to create characters, to create their backstory, all this stuff. Like, characters are so complex. They're just like people, right? So this is just the one way I like to start, and then it usually evolves into its own creature, especially with other characters. And I've only written like one big series, but I've been plotting another, and so I've really learned that every character is also different. So really just take this with a grain of salt and take what feels right and what resonates. But I really like to think of a character. I have maybe a vague physical description of them in my head, and then I want to think, what is their big core issue? Like, what is their wound? What is the shard of glass within their heart? What are they struggling with the most? Like, for example, in my Mark of Creation Chronicles series, Kara, my main character, she really deals with a deep sense of unworthiness and like darkness. Like, she really faces the fact that she might not really be a good girl. Like, she's good, but she's not. And she feels like she isn't loved and isn't worthy. And that's a really common one, but I feel like it's universal too. And when I'm creating a new character, I kind of pinpoint that issue, and then I start to develop things in their character that spawn from that issue. So, for example, with Kara, she doesn't feel worthy of having a family, so she sabotages the found family that she finds in the series. She is kind of she's a little selfish. She does some selfish things. She doesn't act like a team member all of the time, but she tries. She wants to. But because of her issue, her misbelief, that shard in her heart, that thing that she's working to overcome, she like self-sabotages almost. But that drives the story forward. That those mistakes that she makes creates more conflict and more story, and then she grows from it, right? So that's the whole point of storytelling. And so this is one of my favorite things to do when crafting new characters, is to be like, okay, what issue do they have? What does it cause them to do? And it doesn't have to be logical. Like, most of the time it's illogical. And how does them doing these things create more conflict in the plot with other characters, with their relationship, etc.? Because all those problems that come from that one thing, that one issue, is what spurs or whatever pushes the story forward. And that's what we call a character-driven story versus a plot-driven story where the external events push the story forward. And you can have both. And if you want both, I actually have a workbook that shows you how to do this exact thing that I'm talking about. You plot in your characters' misbelief, their wounds, all of it, but also plot externally. So you really have best of both worlds, the external plot and the internal. So if you want that, you can check it out. It's in the spot. You know where to go. And yeah, follow for more writing tips. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and tell me how you like to craft your characters.